Hi, everybody. Welcome to In Progress, a Progress Texas podcast. I'm Sammy Gonzalez, Digital Director here with Progress Texas. And this show, if you haven't heard it, we've only done one episode, is where we take our staff and we talk about the most important things that we never got to this week that are really grinding our gears.
We've done 2 episodes, Sam.
Oh, I was sick. So
yeah.
Did not count. I have object permanence. I am a child. Who's that yelling at me, by the way?
Hey, Sam. Reagan Stone, Advocacy Manager, correcting anything that you say this morning, obviously. Going around introducing ourselves. Who's next?
Well, thank God for Reagan. I'm Haley Smith, Digital Associate here at Progress, and I'm really excited. Can we cuss? I'm excited to pitch. It's been a week.
Just not within the first 30 seconds. The algorithm is angry.
Okay, I'll keep the algorithm happy, but it's been finals week for me, so I'm excited to get some things off my chest, let off some steam, and I think this group is probably the best I could probably do it with.
Right, it's the young and hip crew, all so young and hip, and I'm not 35. And lastly, of course, joining us, you could hear her laughing.
Yeah, I love doing that. Laughing at everybody else on the team, especially the digital folks. I'm Owens, and I just got promoted in the last month. Yay me. Now my title is Advocacy and Development Coordinator. So thank you, team, and happy to be here today. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll rant a little bit.
Or maybe you'll lose that job immediately with your concern. Actually,
this is the time.
I had a different concern, but you were talking about digital, so I have 0.5 to my annoyances this week. TikTok is killing us because we say the word abortion and we say the word rally or anything semi-political. Haley, one of your videos got 9 views in several hours because you in the caption we use the word abortion, but I put @B0 shun 0 and that got several hundred, and I'm like, we're adults, or at least most of us are. You're not supposed to be a child on TikTok. I think it's like 13 or 16 that you have to have it. Point is, we're adults here, and we're trying to talk about adult things and mature things and things of great importance, and they're making us use stupid, silly words like unalive and all this other nonsense, double speak. For those of you who are in the older part of the audience, we have to use double speak to get the points across because the algorithms hate actual commentary. But that's actually not my real gripe. Because I'm rolling. Because my real gripe, actually, my number one gripe this week that no one really talked about, people talked about it, it was stupid, and then they let it go. And I'm not letting it go because it matters to me. As a matter of fact, here, it's about action figures. It's about Christmas. Look at that. I got a Peter Parker. Hold on. There you go. You can see it right there. So I have a big old collection. I have hundreds of figures to the left of me within arm's reach. And Trump this week, and I quote, and it's going to sound like stupid word salad because it is, oh, the shelves are going to be open. Well, maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30, and maybe the $2 will cost a couple bucks more than they would normally. But we're not talking about something that we have to go out of our way, period. They have ships that are loaded up with stuff, much of which, not all of it, but much of which we don't need. And that's in response to tariffs increasing the prices and the lack of stock on our shelves for potentially toys, dolls, the $30 that every child has. That was his response, was just nonsense. And I'm talking about not just my collectibles. In my world, the collectibles are already getting a tariff increase, like that they're marking it with like this is the tariff price. But nobody's talking about how this is a real war on Christmas. Greg Abbott hates kids. I told that on the first episode of this. And Trump hates kids. What is wrong with the children? They're fine. They're just trying to live a good life. They're trying to go to school.
Taking away their books.
And now we're taking away their toys, their school. What is that about?
Vance is the Antichrist. So, I mean,
how many gifts did Trump get every Christmas? I don't know if his dad was too nice, but I imagine, he was probably just a millionaire real estate Mongol at the time, but
was Trump ever a child? Was he ever a kid? Because there's that video clip of Barron where he's like, I like my suitcase, because he's like a little Melania, whatever ethnicity Melania raised him, or the maid did, who knows, with the same accent. And that you can see Barron as a kid. Trump as a kid, what does that look like? Is he like a newsie? From New York? Did he wear a pinstripe suit like a mafioso?
One of my gripes here is that PBS and NPR had an executive order over the night. Like, I don't even know how an executive order gets signed at like 11 o'clock or midnight. I guess that's business hours at the White House. But in one of the PBS Frontlines, they did a documentary on the president before he became president for the second time. He was evidently like a big old troublemaker as a kid. They sent him off to military camp, that type of stuff. But so maybe that's the reason, they're telling the truth about, his little
the root, his villain origin story, if you will. Yeah.
Right. Oh, also now the kids don't get PBS. They don't get Mr. Rogers. They don't get Sesame Street. Why are the Republicans fucking with Big Bird? Why are the Republicans fucking with Elmo? He's just a 5-year-old with a fish and a pet rock. All right.
Yeah.
He's only 5.
He's only 5.
And I think about this a lot. Like, Progress Texas is a news organization in some way. And yes, there are right-wing ones and there are left-wing ones, and we all have a voice. But some days I just want to turn and be able to read the Walter Cronkite news. This is what freaking happened.
Yeah.
And Progress Texas does a pretty darn good job in that. We say this is what happened and this is what we think about it. But PBS, come on. Right. They say this is what happened. And if anything, they'll have both sides being presented at the same time in a healthy debate.
This is so interesting. I was just talking with some girlfriends last night so we're talking about the digital space and how news gets to each of us. TikTok, we're already on it. We're trying to break into that, and it's hard. Recently, there's this influencer on TikTok who runs. That's her thing. She has a podcast. I forget the name, but it's Running With, and the guest joins them. Usually it's I wouldn't say apolitical because everything's political, but you have a tennis player on, you have a regular old celebrity, and then she puts on Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary for the White House, and it's a tour of the White House with a little Tesla ad in the middle of this video that is clearly being paid for. She was paid for, and she deletes the video because there's so much backlash about you can't just both sides this. This is not okay, and she takes them through the press room, which, one of the news topics this week was about basically MAGA news questions being feeded in from other influencers. So similar.
Oh, right. Yeah. They had a whole press conference with one creepy guy on there too.
Yeah. His health is so good, and just feeding compliments to the press secretary. So I just think that this whole digital space, you can see such a wide range of voices. And the people that get the views are being paid for in a way, this content was put on her page and then she deleted it because the backlash. Put up, basically what people were saying was she put up a Black person after that to counteract the backlash.
Right.
And then had to put it back up because it was clearly paid for content.
Oh, you mean the old Target method where apparently they've been using a lot of black hand models to overcome the DEI?
Sorry, y'all. Don't boycott us anymore.
Right. They're apparently I don't go out Target no more. That's my own decision. But
same.
Reagan, you cracked me up because you were you want the Tom Brokaw style old news reporting, the Peter Jennings of our, youth or whatever. And I just
stuff.
But I just want I imagine in the future that guy is going to be a fusion of old timey news anchor and the new content where he's and Texas's total smortion ban. It's they're gonna have to override the actual words so that the youths that are gonna be the olds understand in 2049.
Yeah, because we'll have to change our language around what we talk about because we live in an authoritarian regime at the moment. At least that's what I'm seeing, and the memes are telling me for sure. I want to talk about for a second also that there's an election tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. One of those things. Yeah. Well, because Texas goes, it's good. Elections on a Saturday that nobody knows about.
Right before Cinco de Mayo. Although I don't think Cinco de Mayo is really anything other than an excuse to drink a margarita and forget about to vote. Well, last year it was before the election. This year, at least, you won't forget about the election unless you already forgot about it. But yeah,
we didn't hear Progress.
But
Texas.
we're here. We're here to remind you.
We tell people to go to govotexas.org.
That's exactly right. You can figure out how to get to the polls. You can figure out what you need to bring, like a voter ID. You can figure out what the heck is on your ballot because these elections are all across the state, rural, urban, county, city. They are city councils. They are, sometimes some local courts like that. They are school boards, y'all. Like, goodness gracious. Like, these are very important. And typically they have like 2% turnout in Houston to maybe like sometimes 10 or 15% in small rural communities like where I'm from. But still unbelievably terrible. One race, San Antonio mayor. It's going to be a really interesting race tomorrow. We're looking at a few progressive or rather left of center candidates. Of course, kind of one of the top contenders is the Gina Ortiz Jones, and a couple others like Melissa Cabello Haverda and Dr. Adriana Rocha Garcia. We actually got a couple of podcasts that you can find in the same place that you find this and listen to those candidates. And also just plugging because on Tuesday, we're going to be in San Antonio with the outgoing mayor, Ron Nierenberg. So,
oh my God.
Definitely.
I'm so excited. I love San Antonio, and I feel like I never get the excuse to go to I live in San Marcos, for those of you who don't know. And it's like an hour or so to San Antonio. And I love the city so much, but I could just never get out. And so I'm really excited for the party and obviously to see you guys. But
take part in Fiesta. It's happening right now. It goes on a little bit longer into the early part of May. So I hope you get to go take part in some of that as well. Like the election, super cool. I have friends like Rick Galvan that's running for District 6 right now. He's still going to be block walking that day up. Like it is going to be a busy Saturday, May 3rd. Election season. And this is the first election that San Antonio has had for mayor in a long time. This is the end of his term. So it'll definitely be a chaotic Saturday around San Antonio.
Almost an absolute expected runoff to happen. So on Tuesday, when we're with Mayor Ron Nierenberg, I'm going to be asking who he might be supporting in that runoff, or maybe what his future plans are going to be. We might have some late breaking news,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
whoa, Reagan.
San Antonio friends, Progress Texas is proud to welcome Mayor Ron Nierenberg as our guest for a live podcast taping at our Party for Progress on Tuesday, May 6th, and you're invited. We look forward to a long overdue visit to Alamo City. Again, mark that date, Tuesday, May 6th, live pod taping with Mayor Ron Nierenberg and good fun with you in San Antonio. See the show notes and get your tickets right now. And thanks to Austin Kaplan and the Kaplan Law Firm, Julianne Reeves, Tracy Miller, Will Judy, and more for their generous support of our San Antonio Party for Progress.
Sam, you said something about this earlier, but I think it's just been on my mind as of late. I think actually it was Reagan who said this. I wish things were normal. Like I wish things were boring. And Sam, you had that quote about Trump and the dolls, and I just remember, and like I'm kind of showing my age a little bit here, but I just remember thinking when I heard that for the first time, like that's the president of the United States saying that.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make sense. The commander-in-chief of our government is clearly not in his right mind. And even if he were, he's fucking crazy. And I can't imagine living in a world now where we have a leader who is confident and stable and knowledgeable and educated. And I think, honestly, anybody on this call would be way more qualified to be president. And matter of fact, Reagan, 2028.
Well, here's the thing, Haley. The worst part about it is that this is fourth term of dumb president, but our second dumb president. I grew up with Bush. That fed comedy families for decades. Quote, families is where our nation finds hope, where wings take dream. That's what a president said. And now he looks cute. That guy, I mean, him and Dick Cheney did horrible, horrible things. And that's whimsical and fun now.
Yeah.
Compared to where we are.
The White House Twitter account putting out the most horrible things you've ever seen in your life with the verified check mark right next to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the fire emoji for some reason. Speaking of fire emoji, the signal chat stuff I think has gotten worse. Mike Waltz is not national security advisor. There's another.
Yeah.
At this point, I kind of don't even know. But then that's also the thing that like I wish things were boring and that I could stay up to date on if our intelligence had a major leak or not. But like we're putting out enough fires, I think, here in Texas.
We got all our information stolen. It was in a bathroom.
Yeah.
It was in a Mar-a-Lago bathroom. I'm not even talking about the Doge nonsensory foolery that's going on. I'm talking about there was just loose documents at Mar-a-Lago years ago.
Yeah.
That he was showing people. He's like, these are classified. Aren't these great? Oh, man.
So long ago.
So long ago.
Bad times. I will pivot into a different topic than the ever-present doom that comes from the president's office. But so I went to go see Sinners this week. Have y'all seen anything about it? I'm very excited. Good. Second watch. Okay, this is this Michael B. Jordan movie that's set in like sharecropper Clarksdale, Mississippi. So like early 19th century. And as I was watching it, I think it's very much what the movie is trying to say, but like it's a very well-researched movie that cares about the history that it's representing. It is a fictional story. It has vampires and like a lot of talk about culture and music. Definitely go watch it. It's fun. But as I was watching it, I was thinking about the things I was learning. For example, they have this really cool sequence where a street divides, like it segregates by race. And so a store owner, that Chinese store owners will walk across the street back and forth to the black side and to the white side because it was this like strange racial dynamic where like that was allowed. And this brings me to my point of SB 37 is a bill that's in the legislature. It will continue the legacy of anti-DEI education initiatives, which basically is targeting the curriculum that we're facing in our K through 12 and higher education public systems. I would definitely go check it out. I know that Students for DEI's Instagram has a ton of great resources specifically on why you should fight against this bill. And yeah, I think that even just like in going to the movies, you can see that we're in such a heightened time of like following along our history and making sure that different stories are represented. And I think that's just so crucial when so much is being pulled from our history books and the kids are going to be dumber for it. Like, it's just so sad.
Yeah, it's very sad, Tatum. I got to say something added on to that. You know, the DEI aspect of it is being highlighted a lot. But what actually goes into this is I saw a tweet or a Facebook from Texas Public Policy Foundation, which is like kind of the heritage foundation of Texas yesterday. And they were making an argument. Why does Texas have academic freedom? They were saying if Texas taxpayers pay for university salaries, they absolutely should not be able to do anything that the legislature says they shouldn't be able to do. I can't even I don't understand what the hell is going on in their heads.
Yeah.
What?
Party of small government, they say.
Money to put together those talking points because that's not going to translate to just like everyday Texan. People who depend on public schools, like our friends and cousins. I have cousins in rural areas where that is the only option.
Look,
they'll be worse off for it.
All of this stuff makes me long for a simpler time. If you guys ever want a good example of like what it used to be kind of feel normal, I know there's people who knew what normal was, older audience listening right now. There's some Gen X and some millennial in there. This is for them, actually. You remember when the Burger King Kids Club was the definition of DEI? Go Google the Burger King Kids Club. They have everybody represented in that crew of young individuals. Power Rangers, Captain Planet, for those of you who also know about Captain Planet. That is DEI. That is everybody's involved. Everyone's included. LeVar Burton was probably there somewhere. And everyone kind of got along. And that's what we're just trying to go for. We're just,
the 90s, the golden age.
Well, that's the thing. I struggle to say that because we were kids. So it's like everyone always resorts to things were better when I was 12.
Colored classes, yeah.
Oh God, right. We're becoming those people.
Right. But if you look at the Burger King Kids Club, they got a diverse group of youth individuals that were promoting hamburgers for children, which you could do back then.
Because what America is, goddammit.
Yeah, there's a kid in a wheelchair. There's a redhead. There's an African-American kid. There's a racially ambiguous kid. There's a white girl. There's a cool white kid. And then there's another redhead with glasses who's a nerd. Nerds were their own needed to be included. That's going to be the thumbnail, by the way. It may not be, but I want the thumbnail to be the Burger King Kids Club to know what America could truly be. America could truly be a diverse and equal and equitable and what's the other I? Inclusive. There you go. An inclusive place for everybody if we want it to be.
And
if
we're
we make
running
so.
after Burger King for a sponsorship. Isn't that right?
Only if they bring back the Burger King Kids Club where they give me a free hamburger on my birthday.
Very good.
Tatum, you would have gotten a free hamburger just moments ago.
Yikes.
Besides reaching out to your representatives, state reps, or state senators,
reach out to Burger King.
Reach out to Burger King.
Okay, let's get out of here. Reagan, go ahead. Reach out to who? Who are you reaching out?
Besides Burger King and having it your way, make sure you get your hamburger. Go support a local hamburger stand. I want to say thank you to all of our audience for listening today. Please do find a way to support our work, whether that is a few dollars a month going to progresstexas.org/donate, or just sharing our work on social media or telling your friend about our podcasts. All of those ways really do go a long way. I want to shout out a couple of other folks that are progressive certified and on a ballot for tomorrow. I want to say to Nicolette Ardiente. She's running at the North Side Independent School District in San Antonio for District 6 Board Trustee. And I also want to shout out to Laura Cadena for the Dallas City Council District 6. Thanks for being a progressive certified staff pick. Thank you to all y'all for being here. Thanks for being in progress.
Yes.
And y'all take
care.
care.
On behalf of Reagan, Tatum, Haley, and myself, Sam, thank you for listening to Progress Texas Podcast. Thank you for listening to In Progress. And be sure to hit 5 stars, hit the like button. And of course, I know you're subscribing, but make sure you're subscribing if you're not. And make sure you listen every time we put up something, which is Monday through Friday, and then some other times. Thanks to Chris Mosier as our podcast director for all that output. And in the meantime, we're going to get out of here. So He's already playing the outro. I'm fading into the darkness. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time. Oh, no.
No.
Voting.